The Beatles did not invent Twist and Shout. They hijacked it from a song that never cracked the charts, then turned it into a 3 million selling global anthem in a single take. Whitney Houston's signature ballad. Actually, it is a Dolly Parton country hit that sold less than 100,000 copies before Houston's version conquered the world for 14 straight weeks. Welcome to Top 10 Stolen Rock Songs That Rewrote Music History, a countdown of rock's most iconic anthems that erased their true origins. These are not just covers, they are cultural takeovers that left the originals in the shadows. Which songs did you grow up believing were originals? The truth starts now. Number 10, Twist and Shout by the Beatles. For most people, this is the soundtrack of British rock. Lennon tearing his voice raw, crowds erupting as the band powers through the chorus. But the story does not start at Abbey Road. Phil Medley and Burt Burns wrote it in 1961 and handed it to the top notes. Their version fizzled, never even scratching the charts. A year later, the Isley Brothers took a shot, pushing it to number 17 on the R&B chart in the US, adding energy but not immortality. Then, in 1963, the Beatles stepped in. Their version, recorded in a single frenzied take, soared to number 2 in the UK, selling over 3 million copies worldwide. No contest. The Beatles did not just cover the song, they erased its origin. This isn't a tribute, it's a takeover by force of popularity. Number 9, I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. For most, it's the ultimate power ballad, an anthem of heartbreak that topped charts and filled stadiums. But the words and melody belong to Dolly Parton, who wrote and recorded it in 1973 as a gentle country farewell. Parton's version reached number 1 on the country chart, selling under 100,000 copies at the time. Nearly 2 decades later, Houston's version, recorded for the Bodyguard soundtrack in 1992, held the Billboard Hot 100's top spot for 14 weeks and sold over 20 million copies worldwide. The song won Record of the Year at the Grammys, cementing Houston's ownership in popular memory. Parton may have written it, but Houston's voice made it immortal. This isn't just a cover, it's a takeover by scale and sound. Number 8, Live and Let Die by Guns N' Roses. To a generation raised on stadium rock, this is Slash's anthem, screaming guitars, pounding drums, a song built for pyro and fireworks. But the story starts in 1973, with Paul McCartney writing a Bond theme for Roger Moore's debut. McCartney's version shot to number 2 in the UK, selling over 600,000 copies, but always sounded like it belonged in a tuxedo. Nearly 2 decades later, Guns N' Roses tore the song from its cinematic roots, amping up the aggression, earning a number 11 spot on the rock charts, and racking up over 150 million streams. McCartney set the table. GNR took the feast. That's not just a cover, it's a hostile takeover by sheer volume. Number 7, Respect by Aretha Franklin. For most listeners, this is the defiant anthem that changed the conversation about power and equality in America. Aretha's voice, bold, unyielding, became the sound of a movement, but the foundation wasn't hers. Otis Redding wrote and recorded Respect in 1965, a raw soul plea wrapped in heartbreak. Redding's version landed at number 35 on the Billboard Hot 100, respected but not revolutionary. 2 years later, Franklin took that same melody, flipped the perspective, and demanded what Redding had merely asked for. Her recording shot to number 1 on both the Hot 100 and the R&B chart, holding the R&B crown for 8 weeks. Franklin's Respect became a civil rights and feminist rallying cry, forever tied to her name. Redding wrote the question. Franklin made it an answer. Number 6, Black Magic Woman by Santana. For many, the swirling organ and hypnotic guitar solo are pure Santana, a Latin rock masterpiece from 1970. The real story starts with Peter Green, founder of Fleetwood Mac, who penned Black Magic Woman as a blues track in 1968. In Britain, Green's version climbed to number 37, but it never touched the US charts. Santana transformed the song into a fusion of rock and Afro-Latin rhythm, merging it with Gabber Sabo's Gypsy Queen. Their version soared to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 and helped the Abraxas album sell over 5 million copies in the US alone. Fleetwood Mac's original faded into collector lore, while Santana's covers sold out arenas and became a staple on classic rock radio. Green lit the fuse, but Santana's fire still burns. This isn't just a cover, it's cross-genre domination. Number 5. The Sound of Silence by Disturbed. For decades, Simon and Garfunkel's gentle harmonies defined this anthem. Quiet, reflective, built on the hush of 1960s folk. Their original reached number 21 on the Billboard Hot 100, echoing through counterculture coffeehouses and protest rallies. But in 2015, everything changed. Disturbed, a band known for thundering metal, delivered a version that replaced acoustic subtlety with raw, cinematic power. David Draymond's voice, low and searing, pushed the song into dark grandeur. The impact was immediate. Over 1 billion views on YouTube, millions of shares, and a wave of reaction videos from audiences too young to remember the 60s. Even Paul Simon called it one of the most beautiful arrangements I can recall. The original became a relic, the cover, a viral force heard in stadiums and blockbuster trailers. Silence, once folk, is now thunderous, rewritten for an age of spectacle. Number 4. Tainted Love by Soft Cell. For most, this is pure synth-pop nostalgia, neon lights, pulsing bass, Mark Almond's urgent vocals. But Gloria Jones first recorded Tainted Love in 1964. Her version, a soul cut with only about 1,000 original pressings, never charted on either side of the Atlantic, vanishing into obscurity until it resurfaced on the Northern soul scene a decade later. Everything changed in 1981. Soft Cell stripped the song to its bones, replacing horns with synths, heartbreak with cool detachment. The result, number 1 on the United Kingdom singles chart, selling over 1.35 million copies at home and certified 3 times platinum. In the United States, it set a record with 43 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100. Jones's original is a collector's dream. Soft Cell's cover is a global anthem. The world forgot the source. The thief became the legend. Number 3. Hurt by Johnny Cash. For a whole generation, this song is Cash's parting confession, a trembling voice facing the end, stripped of pride, haunted by regret. But the origin story starts with Trent Reznor and 9 Inch Nails in 1994, where Hurt exploded as a raw, industrial howl of pain and addiction, peaking at number 31 on the alternative chart. 8 years later, Cash transformed it. His 2002 cover reached number 33 on the same chart. But the real impact came from the music video, awarded Best Cinematography at the MTV Video Music Awards and praised as one of the most powerful in history. Reznor wrote the wound. Cash turned it into a requiem. This isn't just a cover, it's an act of artistic possession. Number 2. All Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix. For most listeners, this song is pure Hendrix, psychedelic, electric, built around a soaring guitar that bends time and space. The truth is quieter. Bob Dylan wrote it in 1967, recording a stripped-down version for his John Wesley Harding album. That original did not chart. Then Hendrix entered the studio in 1968, slowing the tempo, layering guitars, and turning the folk ballad into a storm. His cover reached number 20 on the Billboard Hot 100, instantly reshaping the song's place in rock. The impact was so complete that Dylan himself started performing Hendrix's arrangement live, even admitting, "It's his song now." Dylan wrote the words, but Hendrix owns the legacy. Number 1. Hound Dog by Elvis Presley. For most of the world, this is the sound of rock and roll breaking loose. The hips, the sneer, the television censors clutching their pearls in 1956 as Elvis lit a fuse on American TV. But the real beginning is a different voice entirely. Willie Mae Big Mama Thornton recorded Hound Dog in 1952, her voice a wall of defiance, stomping out a blues shot through with dirt and sweat. Thornton's recording hit number 1 on the R&B charts for 7 weeks, selling 750,000 copies. A triumph in its moment. She pocketed just $500, while the song's writers, Lieber and Stoller, took the credits and the checks. 4 years later, Presley's version, reworked from a Vegas lounge act, sped up, stripped of its bite, landed like a bomb. Elvis's single barreled to the top of the pop charts for 11 weeks, selling more than 10 million copies worldwide. His name floated to the very top of history. Thornton's was squeezed out, a footnote in liner notes nobody read. The numbers tell the whole story. 7 weeks at number 1 for Thornton, 11 weeks for Presley, 750,000 copies for the original, over 10 million for the cover. But the real theft isn't in the charts or the money. It's in memory. When Hound Dog blares from a jukebox, it's Presley's lip curl, not Thornton's growl. that echoes back. This isn't a tribute, it's cultural erasure, rock and roll rewriting its own origin story, one stolen song at a time. Elvis Presley's Hound Dog sold over 10 million copies and dominated the pop charts for 11 weeks, while Big Mama Thornton's original earned her just $500 despite selling 750,000 records. Throughout this documentary, we uncovered how chart-topping covers, from the Beatles' Twist and Shout to Aretha Franklin's Respect, permanently eclipsed their origins, often rewriting public memory and erasing the creators behind these classics. Primary sales records, Billboard chart data, and artist discographies confirm that, in each case, the cover version achieved greater commercial success, broader cultural reach, and lasting association with the new performer. Yet questions remain about the full extent of royalties lost, legal recognition withheld, and how much of this history is still hidden in private contracts and unpublished archives. Today, streaming numbers, award shows, and social media reinforce the same patterns as the most popular voice becomes the definitive one. The evidence makes it clear, in rock history, the celebrated version is often not the beginning, but the end of the story. Dig deeper, and the true origins of the music you love may surprise you.